I'm Christy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm here with an old school historical romance reading vlog. Alright, so I'm here to quickly do an introduction to this reading vlog, which I'm actually not going to start it until like a week later, but you won't know that because in the editing, it's all going to smoothly go into each transition nicely. But for myself, I was just filming some other videos and I just wanted to film a quick intro because I always forget to do those. So just to introduce this reading vlog and tell you what it's all about before like a week or so later, I'll actually get into the reading portion. So as you know, I am a co-host for Historical Hellions, which is a historical romance book club that I run with Jess from Peace Love Books and Samantha with Books from Samantha. This is our historical romance book club where we read historical romances published before the year 2000. So more of those like old school historical romances. And so Jess, Samantha, and I have talked about for quite some time now to read some of the original like Lisa Kleypas books because she has like 4 original books that she has not wanted to republish. There's no ebook version, like you only have to find the paperbacks to read them. And so we decided, you know what, let's do a vlog of that because we can never like actually do one of those for our book club because that would be hard for like accessibility for people to get their hands on that book, and the book usually goes for like a lot of money. So we decided let's all like collab and do a reading vlog where we read Where Passions Lead by Lisa Kleypas as well as like a couple other old school historical romances too. So that is what we are here to do today. So here is Where Passion Leads by Lisa Kleypas. The pink is just absolutely stunning. I've been collecting historical romances for years. So I've had this book on my shelf for probably 5 years or so. That's when I really was into historical romance collecting and built a lot of my collection years ago. So definitely harder to get your hands on. I feel like some of these historical romances. So this one, I think I ended up paying, was it $2? $8? I might have paid $8 for this. I know it was less than $8 though. So I found a good deal for it back then because this book goes for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So anyways, very excited to read this one. I know that this one has some like problematic content, which I think is like early on into the book where basically I think there's like some dub-con, non-con situation between the hero to the heroine. And then I think the rest of the story is their journey from there. So hopefully he makes amends on that and we'll see how it goes because I know with myself with reading, especially like Judith McNaught books, she has a lot of that kind of situation going on. And to me, it's how the hero handles the situation like after the fact or like what is all involved in him doing that at the time, like if that makes sense. So nuances, you know? So anyways, I'm excited to read this one. I honestly don't know too much else about it. Also like baby Lisa Kleypas, so young. So she was like 22, I think, when she published her first book or something like that. Let's see here. So this book was published in 1987, so a year after my birth. Love that. Beautiful young Rosalie was swept up into an aristocratic world of luxury, license, and intricate intrigue when the most notorious and handsome rake in London, Lord Randall Berkeley, abducted her in the belief that she was any man's for the taking. Before he realized his mistake, he had branded her with his desire and lost his heart to this girl so unlike any he had ever known. Both Rosalie waking to womanhood and Sir Randall learning the power of love were in the dark about each other until the flames of passion lit their way through a labyrinth of danger, ... to the dazzling heights of ecstasy, ... where passion leads. Okay, I love the like dramaticness of all of that. So I'm very intrigued. I cannot wait. This one I'll have to read the physical copy of it because like I mentioned, there's no ebook, there's no other like audiobook, any of those things. You have to read the like actual physical copy of it, which like I mentioned, this is one of the 4 original Lisa Kleypas books that are all right here and so stinking pretty that are like not available in ebook. You have to find them in like their physical formats. So this of course is one of them, Where Passion Leads. Then we have this one, so stunning. So this is Forever My Love. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm obsessed with the blue on here. And we have this like beautiful kind of wraparound moment as well. Then we have Give Me It Tonight. This one with the green is very, very pretty. Again, kind of those wraparound moments and scenes. And then the last one is Love Come to Me by Lisa Kleypas as well. I love the like little house in here, her pink, and then it wraps around again into the scenes, which I think this is like hilarious of whoever this guy is in the book. So those are all 4 of the like original Lisa Kleypas paperbacks. These are actually the 4 of hers that I haven't read, as well as like 1 duet of hers I haven't read. All the rest of her books I've read. I have a whole author's guide to all of her books, showing all the original covers, step backs covers, talking about them all, where to start, all the things. I have a whole guide to her books, which I'll link below if you want to go check that out. But these are like the 4 that I haven't yet read, touched. So I'm very excited to read Where Passion Leads. So then, like I mentioned, I think all 3 of us are going to be reading like at least another, if not 2 other historical romances as well. So I'm very excited. I picked a couple others to read that are old school ones. So the first one that I have is Keeper of the Dream by Penelope Williamson. This is an author that I've been wanting to read forever. And this cover is just a stunner. the gold with the red, with the dragon. I think this one is set in Wales, if I remember correctly. Beautiful step back moment as well. This one's a medieval. So this one I've heard is a medieval, I think it's a marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers, and I'm very, very intrigued, so I can't wait to read this one. This one says, blessed with the Welsh gift of sight, Lady Ariana saw the vision in a golden bowl, a knight with gray eyes as the English sea that had captured her, his sword about to pierce her heart, and she trembled, not with fear, but with the desire that engulfed her very soul. On the treacherous border of Wales, Rain, the black dragon, rode his charger toward Castle Rudlon, probably pronounced that wrong, illegitimate son of a Norman nobleman. His past was scarred by denial and mistrust, and now his future lay in the conquest of a fiefdom and a woman's love. As the battle trumpet sounded, Ariana, her Celtic pride unyielding, saw her dream take flesh. Rain, the enemy who inflamed her blood with desire. Rain, the lover she must gentle and tame, and then, as ancient hatreds threaten their lives, either cherish or betray in Keeper of the Dream. Very dramatic, and I'm very excited already. Just reading the author's note in here, which this author looks really young as well. So it says that jousts and troubadours and knights and their lady loves, magic swords and wizard, such was the stuff of old tales of romance, and this is the world I had hoped to capture in Keeper of the Dream. It actually began as an idea of a forced marriage between a Welsh princess and a conquering Norman knight, but while researching the old Celtic romances, I discovered a marvelous thing. Many of these stories had a similar plot. A knight would set out on a quest to win a lady's love. Often he was helped or hindered in his quest by magic and wizards. He had to fight dragons, sometimes real ones, sometimes demons within himself, but he always won his lady, and through love, carnal, sexy, lusty love, he was given the gifts of knowledge and eternal life. The Celts believe that love has to be earned, that love is uplifting, but above all, that love is forever. I must be an incorrigible romantic. I love those old-fashioned boy gets girl movies and somebody done somebody wrong songs. I'd like to think that for every somebody, there is another perfect somebody to make their worlds complete, and I really do believe that their true love never dies, but goes on and on, echoing through the circle of time. Okay, I love that. Like the author's note at the end about how she like wrote the book and how it came to be. Sounds so good already. Like I'm very intrigued and excited, and like right now I've really been in a historical romance mood where I want like these older ones that were published to just have like more epicness, more depth to the characters, more like complexities and misunderstandings and emotions. Like I want all those feelings. So this sounds like it's going to be right up my alley. I can't wait. This is the second book I'm going to read for this. And then the third book, which I don't have a copy of because this original cover is absolutely stunning, but I can't wait to read this one. So this is A Bed of Spices by Barbara Samuel. So somebody actually had recommended this to us during one of our like historical Hellions when we asked for a book recs, but we didn't get to this one, but I put it on my own TBR because it sounds amazing. I think this one's actually medieval as well. So this one says it's angsty, forbidden love, class difference with a cinnamon roll hero. Like I said, the cover is stunning. So it says, only love could bridge the dark abyss that threatened to keep them apart forever. He filled her dreams with desperate longing. The exquisite Frederica fled the castle to the herbalist's cottage. Rika could never give in to her father's wishes and marry the man her twin sister loved. What? Another man, though, a stranger, set her blood racing and understood her bold, searching heart, yet he was denied her forever. She set him afire with forbidden desire, son of a wealthy Strasbourg merchant, and determined to become a physician, Solomon had come to study the herbalist's act. It was there in a wild garden that he first set eyes on Rika. Her golden-haired beauty and bold spirit bewitched him. As plague ravaged Europe, he struggled against his passion, risking his life for the woman he longed to hold in his arms forever on a bed of spices. Ooh, okay, this sounds really good. And I'm looking at like Goodreads. A ton of like mutuals that I have on Goodreads have rated this like 4 and 5 stars. So I'm very intrigued and excited to check this one out as well. I think this one was also published in the 90s. Yes, this one was published in 1993, which I didn't say, but The Keeper of the Dream, the Penelope Williamson, I think this was published in 92. If I remember correctly. Yes, 92, and then A Bed of Spices is 93. I know A Bed of Spices as well is available on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll have to read it there because I don't have a physical copy, and I'm very intrigued and excited to get to all of these. Also very random, but my mail just came, so I have some like body care, face stuff, like favorites that I've been obsessed with. So I wanted to share these because I just like unbox them. So first up, I love skincare and all of those things. So this Bioma Hydrating Milky Toner is one of my favorites. So this is my second one I had to get because my other one was empty. This works so well and I love it. So like hydrating for your face. Also got another bottle of one of my favorites, the Saltaire body oil. So this is, I think, in the, yes, saltwater vanilla. Love the bottle, and it's just so good. It has like a pump situation. It's like after your shower, you should definitely put an oil in, lock in all that hydration, that moisture that you just got through your like shower situation, your bath, whatever you're taking. Lock it in with a oil, and then put your lotions, your fragrances, and your perfumes on top of that, because it will just make it last so much longer, especially if you like layer with certain scents that you're wanting to do, like the scent layering. Love the Saltaire, the body oil. This one is so good. The vanilla, just like, delicious. And then my newest obsession is the EOS, the newer like pistachio, the creme de pistachio lotion. I'm obsessed with this. This is actually my second bottle because I love it so stinking much. It smells so good. It just came out like, I think in the summer. Oh my God, it's so good. So I'm like not usually a pistachio girl, but this smells amazing because it's like toasted pistachio, vanilla toffee, and blonde woods. So honestly, these two paired together, like this after my shower with this on top, perfection. Like the vanilla-y with the vanilla and the pistachio and like all of the toasted goodness in here, like gourmand heaven. I'm obsessed. So anyways, just 3 of my new favorites. I don't really ever share like body care, skincare stuff, but if you ever want me to, let me know because I'm obsessed. These are just 3 random ones that I just got in the mail. So these 2 were restocks, and this was like an extra that I need in a different room of my house. So I'm absolutely obsessed. All right, so anyways, that is all that I have for now, and I will check in again once I get this reading going, which will probably be in another week or so for me. But like I said, in the vlog portion, you'll see it seamlessly kind of blend into that. So I will check in again later once I start reading. Let me get my headphones off, fix my hair somewhat. Probably looking wild, but it is what it is. So anyways, I'm here to do a quick update because I don't think I've talked at all in this video yet. So I have a bunch of updating to do. That's kind of like the type of reader I am. I just like read a book, binge a book, and then I will forget to like update the vlog as I go. So I have a ton of updates so far. So first off, this is just like a quick weekend vlog. I already did the intro talking about the 3 books, the 3 historical romances that I'm going to be reading for this vlog. And so I am just like here to do an update. of the books I've read. I know I have filmed a ton of B-roll, so I have probably inserted that like before this clip. So let's see, over the weekend, my dad is out of town. So my husband, daughter, and I, we went over to my parents' house to hang out with my mom. And so we really just like picked her up. We went out to lunch all together. So then we found this like clay fair, Kleypas, I think it was called, over the weekend to go to in town, which was a lot of fun. And so basically this was just like ceramics, pottery, like a ton of clay makers, I guess you could say, like pottery makers, ceramics, of people like who've made their wares and are now selling them all together, which was at this like ceramics type of pottery class studio as well, which was really cool. So it was like an outdoor festival slash just like a tiny little fair that we were able to just like walk through some booths. I have a ton of B-roll of some of the cool stuff we saw there, picked up some new mugs, kind of like things like that. Then we did like a couple like shopping adventures. We went around to a couple different stores, and then after that like just running errands, and then we went back to my parents' house where my husband cooked dinner for my mom, myself, and our daughter. So that was fun. So then we just like hung out and took off. And so that was our Saturday. So that day was pretty much taken up by being out and about, doing all those errands, eating, hanging out together. And so I didn't read until like later Saturday night, but I had started Keeper of the Dream by Penelope Williamson on a Friday night. So I did end up finishing it on a Saturday night once we got home, and I was like in bed chilling, hanging out, like all the things, reading the book. So I did finish this, which again, the gold and the red are just so stinking pretty. I love that step back moment. I love the like, since the spine's already broken, like I don't mind showing the full spread, which most of my books I don't like doing this to, but this one, the spine is like already broken, so I don't mind showing like the wraparound situation. So stinking pretty. I really love this one. I'm gonna give it a 4 stars, like a high 4-star. I feel like it's not 5-star category slash ranking for me, but like 4-star feels very adequate, proper. Like 4, 4.5. I'm gonna go with 4 though, just because of like some other things that I had issues with the book. So this is a medieval historical romance. It's marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers. It's set in Wales, which I loved, and it's around like the 1100s, I want to say. Let me look. Yes, Wales 1157. So this one I really loved, like I said, medieval. And in here, basically the heroine is the daughter of a prince of Wales. So she is a princess, and in here her father slash Wales and England are fighting. England, of course, is trying to like get into their land, take over the things that they usually do in history. And so that is what's happening. And basically this starts off with like a battle situation where her father, I think, has already passed. And so it's like her brothers protecting like their kind of keep, kingdom, the borderlands, all of that. And so that starts up, which at the time it is King Henry II or III, I can't remember correctly, but I don't even know if it actually ever says. They just refer to him as Henry. So in here the heroine is Ariana and the hero is Rain, and he is known as the Black Dragon, hence the like little banner thing on the cover. And so in here he is basically a Norman knight, and he's fighting for England in this situation between England and Wales. And so we find out as well that the hero was actually born and raised in some of this part of the country where they're fighting at, that he lived like the first 15 years of his life there. He is the bastard son of somebody noble, I want to say an earl, and so basically he was kind of raised not the greatest. He was kind of treated horribly, abused, just like had to work in the stables, all these things that kind of come out throughout the book. Like it definitely has content warning, but I feel like that's kind of common with older historical romances. And so anyways, the fighting's happening, and actually, yeah, now I remember the heroine, her father, he's actually not dead. He's alive because he ends up signing this like peace treaty where basically England is agreeing to withdraw from fighting in their lands, and basically that the people of Wales can continue to govern and rule themselves without like England interfering. But in the meantime, the hero Rain, he is basically told that he's going to live there to try to kind of like keep the peace slash be there in case they need him, because he's a Norman knight fighting for England. And so in here he has this like very meddling squire, which I loved that character so much, and he makes like appearances throughout the entire book. And I love kind of the like lore, I guess you could say, behind him, because this book has a lot of like magic elements as well, which I thought was just so fun. And so in here the squire is very meddling and will just kind of like insert himself in the hero's life and the heroine's life later on, and kind of like push them along the way and see what happens. So the hero and kind of the other men around there are trying to decide what to do with the land, who's going to run it, and who is going to win the heroine, because she's a princess, who's going to win her hand in marriage, because that will like, you know, keep them there, keep the peace, all the things. And so the meddling squire is like, ooh, you guys should have have a jousting tournament, and whoever wins the castle where the heroine lives, as well as her hand in marriage. And so the hero ends up winning, and him and the heroine immediately like already hate each other, not only because of the fact that they are enemies. She hates everybody who's like Norman, as well as just like what he came in and did and the fighting, and they just like really don't like each other at all anyways, like besides all of that going on. And so what I liked about the heroine in here is she's very sassy, fiery, spirited, where she tries to stab and kill the hero multiple times. So if you like a stabby heroine, the heroine in this one is definitely that, where even like on their wedding night, she ends up stabbing him when he is kind of like trying to pleasure her in other places. He's a little busy, he's a little occupied. So she ends up stabbing him. Of course, he grabs it. They fight. I think he like elbows her in the eye at one point trying to get the dagger from her. And so it's a whole big mess on their wedding night. And then of course they, you know, finish doing what they're doing in bed. And then after the fact, he ends up like strip searching her and looks around the bed, looks around the room. He finds like over a dozen different weapons that she hid all throughout the room to try to attack him with. So he's like, absolutely not. And this book is very lengthy, thick. I felt like it was on the longer side. I want to say it's over 450 pages easily. Yes, actually it ends on page 500, and the font is like pretty small as well. And in here, basically I feel like we spend so much time with the characters. It felt very epic though. Like I love books that really like transport you to a different world, a different time, very much like believable of their setting. Like I could see it playing out as a movie in my head. I loved all of the like adventures that they're up to, and just the like interactions. I feel like we got so much from this that I honestly don't even know where to begin, because so much would happen. Like sometimes within one paragraph, within like just a sentence, you really had to like pay attention to what you're reading in this one, where like a sentence could totally change the story, change the character story. Like you had to like kind of double back and read a couple things, because you'd be like, oh wait, what's happening now? Like that happened. So it's one of those books you have to like really pay attention to the details, because so much is happening in such a short time. So like I mentioned, there's kind of like magic woven throughout the story as well in here, where the heroine, she is kind of like a seer. She can see visions. Sometimes they're of things that are to happen, so like the future, things to come, as well as she can also see visions of things that have happened in the past. So throughout the book, she'll get these visions and she'll see things from the hero's past, for example. So like in the middle of her hating him in their current timeline of being married to him and she can't stand him, she'll see these like visions of when he was a child and all the things he went through, the abuse he went through, kind of things like that. So she starts to maybe like feel a little bit more for him or for his character. And so just like things like that happen, she'll also see like kind of visions of things that are to come to be or that could come to be. And so things that she has to like stop, people are in danger, there's fights, there's battles, all of that. Just like a lot of like magical romantic lore as well in here, which I really loved with the setting and Wales. And like in this story as well, like in the author's note, I think in the back, the author talks about just like Wales in general. It's just like a lot of romanticized stories have been told there, like King Arthur and the Round Table, of course, the magical wizard Merlin. We have Tristan and Isolde, all of these like very magical, like Guinevere, all these people, like these stories are kind of set in Wales. And so I kind of liked that little like lower little magical history in here as well, which was super fun. So yeah, just like a lot happens in here. It's definitely enemies to lovers, and I loved seeing the characters like change throughout the time as they kind of grew to know one another and they really start to appreciate one another. Like I said, multiple like months, years pass where you're spending time with them as a married couple. They go through things, they go through life and loss and betrayals, and of course there's all sorts of other like miscommunications and things that happen along the way. Most of them are kind of glazed over. They go really quickly. I think at one point in here, the heroine actually teaches the hero to read, for example. There's just like a lot of little details sprinkled throughout this book, which I just loved being like in their world with these characters, like with all this time with them. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. Very much like an older medieval historical romance, which I love personally. And so I thought it was just so fun. Very like epic feeling. Like I've read quite a few other medieval historical romances, some more recently than others. And this one is definitely one of my newer favorites. So I'm definitely excited that I finally got to Penelope Williamson. I've been meaning to read her books for years now. I've been collecting them for quite some time. So I'm glad that I finally read this one. It was so good. If you want like enemies to lovers, medieval historical romance, where you really feel like transported into their story, into the time, like the descriptions of the stories and the things happening to the people, to the places. It's very descriptive and like definitely like paints a picture for you. This book is definitely that. So I'm very excited now to possibly check out more from this author in the future. I also liked here in the epilogue at the end of some things it kind of hints to, where I was like, ooh, does that character get a book? I don't think they do, because I was like looking on the author's like kind of backlist on Goodreads. So I don't think the character in the epilogue gets a book, but I'll have to do some like more researching. But I really love this one. So yeah, maybe 4.5 stars. All right, and then the next one that I started the audiobook of it as well, and I think I'm like 80–90% done at this point because I've been kind of listening to that while I had the ebook going like throughout the day, and when I was doing work, chores, other things, I'd have the audiobook going. So that is A Bed of Spices by Barbara Samuel. So this one is actually the cover, the original cover is stunning gorgeous, which is what I'm going to put up here, but this book is available on Kindle Unlimited and it has an audiobook as well through Audible. So I'm listening to the audiobook because otherwise trying to like physically get through all three of these books for this vlog for the weekend was going to take me some time. So if there was any audios, which this is the only one with an audio of the 3 books I'm reading, so like I definitely wanted to include an audio to make sure that I got to it. So this one is super interesting so far. So this is another one that we are in the Middle Ages, Dark Ages, around like the Black Death, the plague kind of happening. And so this takes place in 14th century. It's like 13 something. And so we're in Strasbourg. And so in this one, it's very interesting because it is a forbidden romance and class difference romance. So in here we have a lot of like religious things happening as well. So the heroine in here, her name is Rika, or her full name's like Frederica, I want to say, but she goes by Rika. And so in here she is the young Christian daughter. This is like important. She's Christian daughter of a German nobleman. And so her father's basically like a lord. So she's like in a different class than the hero. So he is the son of a Jewish merchant and I want to say a physician, something like that. So their relationship at the time, because of religious reasons as well as because of the like class difference in the areas that their parents work in, their romance, their like relationship is forbidden. This book as well has some heavier stuff. So I kind of saw it being referred to as like a Romeo and Juliet situation, where in here at times I feel like this reads more historical fiction than historical romance, which I personally love historical fiction. So I kind of love the more historical aspects of the book as well. But it is like something to note at the same time if you go in with like different expectations. So in here, basically, like I mentioned, this is kind of the book is leading up to / it gets into when the Black Death, the like bubonic plague, the Black Plague, whatever you want to call it at the time is happening. And so when it like ravages Europe. And so in here, it's interesting / terrible because people are literally the worst, like history, people, ugh, so awful. And in here, basically the town that they live in has not been hit with the Black Death yet, but they know it's coming and there's a lot of like panicking and paranoia and things like that around Europe. And so in their town where they live in Strasbourg, like you can look it up, like look up the name of the town and the Black Death, you will like immediately see like historical stories about this time and this setting where the people of the town decided to, for whatever reason, because people are trash and people are terrible, they decided to blame the Jewish people for that is the reason you guys are like lying, you are poisoning us, you have brought this upon us all. So it leads into some of these residents who live here of the Jewish population getting arrested, burned at the stake, like a lot of terrible things. Like if you read it, like I mentioned, the parts in history, like I think over 2,000 Jewish residents at the time in the city were burned on the same day, which was on Valentine's Day in the 1300s something. And so this was before it even hit their town. Like they just knew it was coming and they already started to blame, freak out, paranoia, and of course get out of control and terrible because people are terrible. So that happened. So that book is kind of set around this time, kind of heavy. And so that's kind of happening in the background while this couple is having their romantic relationship as well. So I'm curious to see, I'm assuming it's ending in an HEA. We shall see, but I'm like 80–90% done. So I'm kind of getting to that. And so we shall see how that one goes. This one I'm feeling like is more 3-star personally for me. I feel like it's very interesting, a different time setting than I usually read historical romances. So I am enjoying that aspect. I think there's just some parts of the writing that I'm not super in love with, and at times it kind of feels tedious to like get back to it. So I don't know, it's okay, but I had like different vibes, a different thought of how I'd enjoy this one, like going into it. The historical aspects alone, like I enjoy, but I'm somebody who loves history, so that part I like. The story, the characters, like they're okay for me so far, so I'm not like obsessed. So it's probably like 3-star energy so far, so we shall see on that one. And then I did start Where Passion Leads by Lisa Kleypas, of course, which is the book that we're reading for this vlog. And so this one I started last night. This book is one that I don't know if it had an ebook at some point, but I know that right now you can only get it physically. And so having to read my paperback copy. So I kind of put this one off to the end to get to, which kind of regret that already. But you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you're in the mood to read books and sometimes you feel like they're more of an assignment. So kind of feeling like that case with these books right now for this vlog, which I'm excited to read all of these, but sometimes at the same time I'm like just not in the mood to pick up the books that I originally said I was in the mood for, or like it starts to feel more of like an assignment or a task that I have to get done. So that's kind of happening, but that kind of happens to me all the time where I will like tell myself I have to read book X, Y, and Z to do a video or to do this, or just because I want to, and then it starts to feel like an assignment or a task that I have to get done instead of like wanting to, or you're like not in the mood to read said book or said like subgenre tropes, like even though you were in the mood for them originally when you might have said yes to picking them up, and then once you are like in them, you're like not really feeling it anymore. So I'm kind of in that mood right now. It might be the books, it might just be me, who knows? But anyways, so I am into Where Passions Lead. So I got, I think like 120 pages last night. Yeah, I'm on chapter 5, 120 pages in. So I'm like, this far is what I've read. Have this much more to go. So should be interesting. I think it is Lisa Kleypas's debut book. So it's very interesting. The only thing I knew is that there is a sexual assault, there's non-con, there is an attack situation happening on page in like chapter 2. That's all I knew about the book before going in, because that's what people talk about this book. And so I've already gotten past that part because like I mentioned, I'm on chapter 5, and I was hoping there was going to be like more nuance or situation stuff that could like affect why what happened, and sadly that's not the case. Which, I mean, I wasn't looking for like an excuse or a reason to like say that what the person did was justifiable at all, because definitely not the case with any type of non-con, like obviously. But I feel like in some of these fiction cases you can sometimes kind of see more of a nuanced, like the people were in the wrong, like of more of them like misunderstanding, or like the nuance to their character, because I feel like I've talked about this a ton in my any like book review I'm talking about Judith McNaught. But the way that it's handled of when the characters finally realize what they were doing or that they were wrong about a situation is handled so much better, way different than this book. So this book, let's set it up. Basically in here, the heroine, her name is Rosalie, and she is a daughter of a governess. And so her and her mother live with this family where her mother has kind of been a governess to this girl growing up, and she kind of raised her daughter Rosalie to kind of do the same things that this other girl was doing from this like aristocratic family, of being able to learn different languages, learn to paint, learn to play the piano, do all this thing, read, write, whatever like the society ladies were able to do. And so she was kind of raised like that growing up. She never told her who her father was. So Rosalie has always wondered, she wants to know who her dad is, and she also has this very like romantic ideal of she wants to be like swept away. She feels like she's better than this society girl that she was raised with, who now she is like kind of a companion to. She's like, I am like so much more, I have so much more to offer than her. She's pretty bland and boring. Like, I feel like I should be out there going to the parties, doing the things, being swept away by men, being courted. So she has kind of that ideal mindset when the story starts. So you see that her and her mother end up going to Covenant Garden, I want to say, and they're going to a theater, going to a show. And so in the middle of the show, a fire breaks out on stage. So kind of like chaos ensues where everybody is panicking and trying to get out of the theater. It's a whole big rush, a whole big panic. And while her and her mother are running out of the theater together, they kind of like their hands get separated and they lose each other in the sea of people trying to get out. Which, you know, I was side-eyeing that fire situation because we know our girl Lisa Kleypas loves a fire. So I was like, girl, here we go again. We're not even 10% into the book and a fire is happening. So anyways, just like a little Lisa Kleypas side moment. And this is all like chapter 1. These chapters are very long, by the way. Rosalie's running away. She's on the street now. She lost her mom. She's panicking. And in the chaos of being like swept out onto the streets and just chaos and panic everywhere, like beggars and other people on the street who are maybe up to some not so great things decide to take advantage of the situation. So they start pickpocketing. She gets mugged, actually, like her entire like wallet, so to speak, her coin purse gets stolen during all this chaos. And so she's kind of like just running. There's people like kind of low-key stalking her, following her down the street, some strange men. So she's on all these weird streets that she has no idea where she's at, in like a seedy kind of part of town. She's lost her mother. She's completely on her own, which she even says in the book, like, I've never been on my own and I've never been down these streets before. So she has no idea where she is. And so she's running away from somebody. She's super spooked out and she ends up falling face first onto the hero's feet, which Lisa Kleypas has done later with some of her other books of a heroine kind of in the streets, in a bad situation, a bad place of town that she doesn't know anything about, kind of falling at the hero's feet. So I feel like this was kind of maybe her practicing her writing, practicing her craft, practicing her things, and eventually she took those ideas and kind of ran with them in a different direction in a future book. So far, at least, those vibes. Like, a lot of similar things are happening plot-wise. I feel like writing-wise, this doesn't really read to me as much as like other Lisa Kleypas books read. Like, as far as like her author voice, I feel like this could have been honestly written by anybody. I'm somebody who's read a majority of all but like 6 of Lisa Kleypas's books. So I'm very familiar with her writing style, and even like the past year now, year and a half, I've been rereading multiple of her different series every single month. So I feel like I've been rereading her books. I'm kind of in her Lisa Kleypas like writing mindset. So I feel like this book doesn't feel the same as some of her other books, to me at least. And so anyways, that happens. She falls at that guy's feet, who we know is going to be the hero. So his name is Randall. He is a lord. He is like the next in line to an earldom. I want to say his grandfather is the current earl. Their mother's gone. Their father's gone as well. And so it's him and his brother who've been raised by their grandfather, or like kind of live with him, whatever. And their grandfather, their family has like a shipping company. They're very wealthy. They are nobility, all the things. So our boy Randall was out with all of his boys having like a boys' night out type of situation, and he finds the heroine and he immediately like sees somebody else chasing her, so he kind of like throws money at that guy and is like, she's mine now, I'm paying you, like go away. So he at first assumes she's kind of a woman of the street, but then he immediately starts noticing like, no, she's probably not. Like her skin, the way she's dressed, her clothes are pretty neat besides being like kind of dirty because of the running and falling. Like otherwise her clothes look in good shape, the way that she's dressed, her skin, her hair, all the things, like she's kind of giving, she's not in a hard place. And so it goes from there with him deciding to, his friends all kind of joke about like, they want to turn with her, what's he gonna do with her, blah blah blah. So they start like making bets, and so he ends up throwing her over his shoulder. She's unconscious still and takes her back to his house. And so when he gets her back to his house, he immediately starts like stripping her down to her underwear. And so he puts her in his bed, and all these thoughts are like going through his head, which are not so great. So he puts her in his bed and they go to sleep, which of course, as this was happening, he's talking about how perfect she is and just like his passion is just taking over and she's so beautiful, like all these things about her as she's knocked out laying in his bed, and he's like stripping her of her clothes. So not so great. And then the next morning she wakes up. And so now we're into chapter 2. So a lot happens in chapter 1. And so in here, the heroine wakes up. She doesn't know where she's at. She doesn't know where her mom is. She doesn't know any of these things. So she's trying to kind of figure out, suss out the situation. Like, well, who is this guy? What does he want from me? Am I in danger? Like, I feel like I'm in danger. What's happening? He's very much like a tiger with his prey. And so she's kind of telling him like, hey, I want to get dressed. I want to leave. Like, I need to go find my mom. I was in this fire situation. At first, she doesn't want to tell him like her name because she's like, I don't want that getting back to the family that I work for. Like, this is going to put my reputation in a bad place. But eventually she tells him her first name, and she does eventually say the family that she works for. And so he is kind of in this like lusty gaze, like he only sees her body, what he wants from her. So he's not really listening to who she says she works for, any of those things. Like, he doesn't care. At this point, he's like, you owe me because I helped you out and saved you. So like, I think we know how this is gonna go is pretty much his jive. He's kind of trying to still, like, he knows she's not a street worker, so to speak, but he also is like constantly trying to convince himself that maybe she is that. Maybe she's just like a really good actress. Maybe she's just really good at kind of like doing this with society guys. So the whole time he's kind of like trying to justify this in his mind of why he thinks it's okay, of what he's gonna do to her. And so it kind of goes from there where things start to happen. And the heroine is like, hey, I work for this family. You don't want to do this. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. She also tells him like she's a virgin and she doesn't want this to happen multiple times. And he's like, yep, really don't believe that either. Like, not believable. So he's kind of like not buying any of what she's putting out there. And so he's eventually like, you just have to do this because I can't help myself. And so they start to do things. And at first he's going slowly. He's trying to seduce her, so to speak, so that she'll be into it. And she's like, that's when she tells him again, like, I'm a virgin. Like, this is not fun for me. Like, let's not. And he's like, yeah, I don't believe you. And so she's like, I just want this to be over. Can this be done and finished? And so he takes that as like not him like being done and getting off of me so I can leave. He takes it as, yeah, let's like speed this up and finish this process. So he just like jams in there. And so she's in pain. And that is when he, of course, realizes and notices that she was not in fact lying. But, you know, instead of like getting out himself and maybe pulling back there and taking a beat, he decides, you know what, I'm just gonna go through with it because of the pleasure and I can't help myself and I'm having so much fun, and like, didn't like it. So it kind of goes from there. And even in here, like, I actually wrote down some of the things that he's thinking. So it says, Rand closed his mind to the possibility that she was not lying. So he kind of doesn't want to admit to himself that he's doing wrong things, that she was right and she wasn't lying, which I will say for his part, he does stop at that point. At one part in here, it says that as remorse mingled with his desire, Rand's manner changed entirely. He started to be extraordinarily gentle, trying to soften the stiffness of her body with his touch, brushing the lightest of kisses across her face. Although she lay underneath him like a stone, he continued to make love to her in a way that ordinarily would have given a woman unimaginable pleasure. But since she was a virgin and not only her body but also her spirit was wounded, she felt no gratification from his touch, only degradation degradation. So it's kind of like talking about her feelings and his in the situation. At one point, I think he even thinks, I'm trying to see if I wrote this part down as well. Like after they're finished, Rand glanced at the sheet, shaking his head slightly at the fresh stain of bright red. Even with such obvious proof, it was difficult to believe that she had been an innocent. He had never taken a woman's virginity until now. Baffled and disquieted, he rose on one elbow and contemplated her forlorn figure silently. At age 28, Rand had known a considerable number of women, yet not one of them had provided such acute pleasure as he had just experienced. Somewhere in the midst of possessing her, his lusty enjoyment of her body had changed into awareness of her fragility, how vulnerable she was, how delicate the feel of her body clasping him, how crude his pleasure had been in comparison to her tender inexperience. She should not have been used so, and he felt a shame in the realization, a shame he covered up with his customary brusqueness. He's then like, oh, you were telling the truth. And then she's like, duh, dude, oh my God, like I told you this, can I leave now? And so then he decides to say, so where exactly are you proposing I let you go to? He questioned, wondering now about the situation she was in. Damn it, now he was uncomfortably aware of feeling responsible for her. Bro. So she says, you know, I don't care. I just want to get away from you, dude. Or then he's thinking, suddenly Rand wanted nothing more than to be able to leave the scene, disliking the necessity of facing what he had done. But he could not wish her away, and if he simply cast her out, the memory of her would linger in his mind in the most tormenting way. Of all mornings to wake up with a conscience, he muttered, this is probably the most inconvenient. I have no desire to see you further misused, he continued, but I have no time to settle things here. Furthermore, I have no confidence in your ability to fend for yourself. Like, bro, what? She tried to, and you attacked her, so... He even goes on to think he didn't blame her for wanting to kill him. In fact, he was beginning to admire whatever it was that caused her spirit to rejuvenate so quickly instead of remaining humbled and crushed. Many women in her current situation would be flinging themselves out the window, not eyeing him with a brilliant glare of hatred. Like, so now he's proud of the fact that she's, like, disgusted and wanting to also fight with him at the same time? Like, dude, what? The thought crossed his mind she would certainly enliven an unexciting trip. So he decides now that he's going to take her with him to France because he's like, yeah, okay, so you've obviously lost your job. You didn't return home. Who cares where your mom is? I don't care about moms. And also, like, just write your mom a note. I'll get it delivered to the house that like you guys work at. And from there, you're going to come with me to France because I have to leave to like deal with this shipping crisis situation for my family's company. So you're going to come with me to France. And when we come back, because I feel like kind of responsible for you now because I like attacked you and left you with no job and all the things. So when we come back, I'll like find you a job, all the things. So that's his like grand plan. Instead of like ever apologizing or ever like trying to make amends, any of that. He's just like, no. Because in his mind, he's still trying to like justify what he did. And like he hates the fact that he feels like bad about it. So honestly, I already hated that entire experience. Hate his reactions and his thinking of him thinking like, oh, this is like, I'm giving you my best stuff. Like you should be enjoying this. Absolutely not. Major ick, all the side eye, all the eye rolls. Like I hate this dude. So I'm curious to see though where the book continues on because I'm only that far in. And so at the part I'm in now, they have continued on and they've gone to France and he's kind of just doing things along the way, like his business deals, what he's doing as well as like society things. He takes her out because he feels like he owes her now. So he's like paying for her to get new clothes, new wardrobe, wear jewelry, go to fancy parties. So she's kind of at the same time feeling like she's enjoying kind of the situation. Like she's not afraid. She wrote that note to her mom, which I'm like, dude, your mom is still missing. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't even know if your mom's alive through that dang fire situation. But instead, she's on her way to France now with this guy. So it's kind of going from there where, again, the hero is just kind of like continuously thinking about her. Very lusty driven, I would say. And just him like, oh, the passion like swept me away and I can't help myself. And it's not my fault she's looking like that or feeling like that or doing this to me. So very much like a victim blaming, but also like he doesn't believe the victim at the same time and he also doesn't think she's a victim. So it's very ick. So far not loving it. Definitely don't enjoy it or like the hero. I thought that he would maybe change his feelings or thoughts or feel like more apologetic towards the situation and he's definitely not. So curious to how it goes. So far hate that dude. So I don't know. We'll see because it is their romance going forward. So yeah, that's where I'm at so far. Not loving it. She's definitely not a Judith McNaught of the way that she can handle some situations and the writing. So yeah, we'll see what I continue to think. So those are my thoughts so far. I'd say I'm like, what, 25% into this book? So far it's not great. We'll see what I think going forward. Yeah, this book. I hate this book. Worst book I've read this year. I hate it so much. It's like making me so angry and putting me in kind of a slumpy mood that I'm just like loathing. this entire experience because this man really just thought about the heroine. Their encounter in London had been an equal exchange. He had taken her virginity and she had taken his freedom. He had no desire for any other woman. Equal exchange? Like, is this dude for real? I hate this guy so much. And it's definitely, like, I can't root for this couple, these, like, characters. I hate it so much. I don't even know. I'm like 80% done with this book and I hate it so much. I feel like I'm just gonna DNF it because I cannot stand the characters, the story. Like, I don't give a F about any of the situation going on. Like, I don't like it. I love historical romances. This book is like not a good representation of things that I love in historical romances. I love old school, older historical romances with some maybe more like dubious consent situations. I'm realizing about myself, non-con does not work for me. That's what this book is, and there's like no redeeming qualities or factors to the story for me. I feel like, I don't know, as I've gotten older anyways, like every year you're changing, your book reading is changing. And I just have found myself lately being very frustrated with books, not like this book only, like other books as well, like just frustrated with the way characters are written. And so like I've just realized I'm not a fan of like dark romances anymore. I'm not a fan of like non-con. I don't enjoy any of that stuff in fiction. So anyways, this book is definitely like more of an example of all of that situation. Like non-con, not really like dark elements, I guess, unless you're considering that dark. Like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And yeah, like I hate to DNF it at this point because I've heard the ending is like supposedly wild and crazy, but like, do I even care to get to that? I don't know. So I feel like I'm not going to do any more updates on it though, because it's going to be a 1-star. Like I hate it so much. Even if I finish it or not, it's not going to change the book rating for me. So I think this is going to be like my last clip because I'm tired of thinking about it, talking about it, reading it honestly. So 1-star, I hate it so much. Worst book I've read this year. Definitely not a good example of like Lisa Kleypas books to me. As somebody who's read rest of her, majority of her backlist, like now there's 5 books of hers I haven't read. I can see why she doesn't want this book to be republished or hasn't gone back and edited it or any of the things that she's been doing with some of her current books. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Like, I hate it so much. So, yeah, it's on my shelves though. Yeah, for now. For now. Overall though, I will say like my thoughts on Lisa Kleypas, besides that book, like that's her first book. We'll give her some grace, I guess. I don't know. Like, obviously it's not the worst thing written, but like, I didn't enjoy it, and I don't feel like it's a good representation of her or her books, especially like some of her other books going forward. Like, absolutely not. Those heroes would never. So that's just like unfortunate and exhausting and annoying, and like I hate it, and it's put me in a really bad mood. So anyways, let's change it up. So, oh, I do have to update about the A Bed of Spices. I finished that and it was 3 stars for me. They did go into that book, maybe also angry, but more angry at the world of history of things that have happened, like people doing to people. I hate it so much. So it has not been a great like reading experience for me. I gave that book 3 stars, and I feel like all the things I had already said about it, I felt. It does end in an HEA, but I just hated that like aspect of history. It does go into, like I had talked about earlier, like of seeing those 2,000 Jewish people like of that community being killed and all of the things. And so that was just, yeah, I don't know. I just like, ugh, the world. And so then it kind of went from there of the Black Death finally coming to their town, and it was much later. And I think I looked it up myself, like 16,000 people ended up passing from that, of just in that area, or that town, I should say. So 3 stars for A Bed of Spices, 1 star for this piece of trash right here, Where Passions Leads. And then Keeper of the Dream by Penelope Williamson was 4 stars for me. Definitely 4. I was gonna say like 4.5, but I feel like it's just like a good solid 4 star. So I did like this one. This was my favorite read of the vlog easily. Really enjoyed this one, how much it just like transported me, and like the medievalness, and just like it felt like a movie playing out of like everything you could think of, like bards and magic and jousting tournaments and just like So much fun. Like all the medieval goodness you can think of was in this book, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I did love this one. I definitely want to read more from this author in the future. And like I mentioned, just because I'm ending on a book that I hated definitely doesn't put me off on historical romances. I love them so much. They're my bread and butter. I adore them. And there's other authors who even like older published historical romances, which that is what I mean when I say like old school historical romances. I'm talking about like ones published in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like those ones, I've found some amazing authors that I love who write old school historical romances, like even this year alone. So there's other authors who I know I like their books and their books work for me, and maybe more of like the nuance to their characters and all the things. So yeah, there's other ones I love. That one was just like a major miss. So let's end this on a good note, on a positive note. I got some book mail today, so let's open that together. All right, so I got 3 packages. 2 of these I know what they are, and the other one, this one on the top, I have no idea. So let's find out together. First up, pretty sure this is the Love Story Society. I got the one for the Catherine Cowles Chasing a Shelter Special Edition. So let's open this together. Yes. So from Love Story Society, which is actually a book box that the same people who own Eternal Embers, the book box, they have this like kind of alternative box as well. Don't really know the difference between them besides like maybe the fact that this box you can have like unlimited skips. So love that. Only signed up for this book. We'll see if I end up keeping it. So all the bubble wrap, which they always like protect their books really well. So let's open this together, which I will keep all of this bubble wrap to the side because I am in the middle of collecting my books, hundreds of books, making me also kind of annoyed with myself that I have hundreds of books. I'm actually in the middle of collecting all in one place so I can film an unhaul coming soon this month. So stay tuned. Definitely gonna need some bubble wrap and all the things for those. So here it is. It comes with a little slippy slip of talking about the book and the tropes and the things. It's very cutesy. Those butterflies are adorable. And then the book is sealed. So let's open it together. Let's see here. Perfect. Sometimes it's like hard to get these open, but this one was like actually pretty easy. So here she is. So pretty. Love the foiling on here for the title portion. Just like very, I don't think that has foiling. No, just the top part has foiling, which is just very like delicate, discreetly done. And then the spine of it, and then the back of the book has like the small town situation. It says, "I love you. You showed me what love could be." Love that so much. This is the latest book in the Sparrow Falls series, which you know I love, love, love. The Sparrow Falls series, I love Catherine Cowles books in general, but this entire series has been 5 stars for me. I love them so much. Then it has the kind of cover in black and white. And then it gets right into the book. And there's no like special formatting or anything. It's just the book. So there is that. Very excited. I think this was like 20 bucks, maybe 24 bucks, like less than 25. I know that. So glad to have this added to my Catherine Cowles shelf because I definitely collect her special editions. So very excited to have this one. So this is from the Love Story Society. This next one is from Catherine Cowles. So very excited to open this. This was something that I purchased, making sure I'm not showing my address or anything. So here we go. It is the like omnibus that she recently put up on her site. So love this so much. It's so thick and hefty. So this is a omnibus that she recently did for Grumpy Sunshine trope. So it has 3 of her books in here that have Grumpy Sunshine. So Fragile Sanctuary, Shadows of You, and Tattered Stars. I love that so much. Have read them all. Love them to pieces. I love the teal and the pink. Let me open this bad boy up. Oh, it's so beautiful. Love the foiling on here and all the like little cutesy details. This was actually a signing exclusive that she was doing for the upcoming Montana signing that I think she'll be at next weekend. And so she had it also up on her shop website that you could grab it there as well. So definitely did that. Love the interior. So stinking cute. The bright pink. This is a thick boy because like I said, it has all 3 of those books in here. Oh, it has a cute little signed page. It's adorable. And then Grumpy Sunshine. And it gets right into the book. So there's Tattered Stars. And it does have little matchy formatting as well. The little sheriff stuff and all that throughout the story. So that's super cute. And then here is Shadows of You. Has a little like hot cocoa mug. That's adorable. Fragile Sanctuary is last. And they have the cutesy little like water bucket. That's adorable. Love it so much. The back has like the matching end pages. So I'm so excited to add this to my Catherine Cowles collection. Her books like take over so many shelves on my bookcase now. Love it so much, but I'm definitely always looking to add more when she does them. So love this one so much, so cute. Oh, and I forgot, it came with a tote as well, which I love it so much. She's had like similar totes to these in some of her like book boxes that she did, like PR boxes for the Sparrowfall series. So she has another one like this, like an artist one. Super nice canvas tote. It has a zipper as well, which I love and need. I love like my canvas totes to be able to zip up. So it zips up, has some zipper little pockets inside. And then it has this cutesy little design on the outside, which these were actually stickers that she had at one point that I have around here somewhere. So one of them says, "Why sleep when you can read about murder?" And the other one says, "Small town, but make it stabby." The pink, the canvas, it's so stinking cute. I love it so much. So that was fun. So 2 new Catherine Cowles to add to my collection. And then the third book mail, I have no idea what it is. So this one is a bit of a mystery. It's from a bookstore. So I'm trying to remember if I pre-ordered anything, because it could be that. Very mysterious. Oh yay, okay, that's right. I had pre-ordered Gabriella and His Grace by Liana de la Rosa, which is the 3rd book in the Luna Sisters series, the final book in this historical romance trilogy. It just came out in August, so I read it recently and I loved it so stinking much. One of my newer like historical romance release favorites, so excited to have it. So I pre-ordered it, so not only is it signed from the author from her local like bookstore, but she also had this gorgeous, stunning art print. Hopefully it will focus on it. There we go. Stunning. Obsessed. Like a kind of clinch cover nod to like old school historical romances that I love. I love that so much. So stinking cute. I'm so excited to add this to my shelves. That is like what I like to do nowadays, is to pre-order from authors like local bookstores. So many authors do a ton of like signings at local bookstores, and they'll offer like swag with it. So you're not only like supporting them, but you're also supporting like a indie bookstore instead of like a big box type of situation. So I love that so much, and just being able to support 2 things at once, the author and the bookstore that they sign at. A lot of them also have like pre-order campaigns and specials where not only will it be like their local bookstore, but they might like include other indie bookstores around the US. So I love that so much. And they'll usually like include like a signed book plate or something if it's not an area that they're like near to sign. So highly recommend checking that out. So I love that. Also, my cutesy sweatshirt, I'm obsessed. It's from Book Babe Designs, and I'm just like, it's so cozy. I've just been living in it. It's so soft and cozy. I'm obsessed. I can't wait to just wear it like all the rest of fall and all the things. The trees have already changed colors here. Leaves have fallen. It's been raining a ton. It's like 40-50 degrees outside. Like, it is definitely, fall's definitely here. Anyway, so that's all that I have for this reading vlog. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed this more than I enjoyed some of the books that I read for this, because, well, you know, because you already just watched all my thoughts on the books. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this. Redoing reading vlogs I feel like is fun because I can talk about each individual book a little bit more, give you like more of my full thoughts and all the things. So it is fun to do even when I don't like the book, because, you know, I want to like know what the book is about and all the things. But anyways, now we know together. Definitely let me know in the comments if you have picked up any of the 3 books that I read. If you are going to pick any of them up, I would love to know. If you have any like historical romances that you want to recommend to me, definitely let me know. I'm always looking for more favorites. I have read a ton, and I have tons of historical romance content on my channel. If you want to see even more, I'll include the playlist in the description of the video so you can go check it out, because I have so many more historical romance videos. So yeah, this was super fun. I mean, I'm always reading historical romances and will continue to do so, even if these ones didn't work out for me. So if you'd rather leave me an emoji in the comments today to let me know that you watched this video, leave me a pink heart. For all the like pink books I got in the mail, and for this one right here where passion leads, the pink floral on here, so leave me a pink heart. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.